Hello everyone, my name is Masterofroflness and welcome to Halo Wars 2. In this video we'll be showing off the Brute Chieftain as well as the console version of Halo Wars 2. I'm joined by two allies who are playing as the UNSC and we'll be versing off against a full Covenant team. Now, this version of Halo Wars 2 differs from that of the open beta, which is released for everyone on Xbox One from June 13 to June 20, in that we only had access to one mode, which is the Strongholds mode. Now, Strongholds is essentially like Capture the Hill. You have to own the most mini-bases at the end of the match in order to win. Each mini-base increases your team's pop cap, so in order to get more units, you have to own more mini-bases. And all the units are unlocked at the start with full upgrades, so you don't really have to worry about upgrades, you just have to worry about your army composition, micro, all that other stuff. Now, this match in particular, it differs from that of the open beta in that we were just given straight off the bat tons of resources, so we don't really have to worry about managing an economy or anything like that. We just have to get straight into the action. I do want to preface this, however, by saying that I'm recording in a booth in E3, which is very echoey, and there's a lot of background noise, so if you do hear some things that are a little bit weird or not from the game, then that is what it is. Now, this is an earlier build of the game, so you're going to see a lot of glitches here and there, and maybe some frame drops. Again, this is the console version, so if there's a lot of units on screen and a lot of shit going on, then there's going to be a lot of slowdown time. So as you can see, there are 4 infantry units that we have at our disposal. We have Suicide Grunts, Hunters, we have Rangers, and then Jump Pack Brutes. I'm going to be spamming Suicide Grunts for the first portion of this video because that's how I was able to get the Brigadier in Halo Wars. And we have access to 4 buildings. The Raid Camp, which produces our infantry units. We got the War Council, which produces the Leader. We got the Foundry, which produces vehicles, land vehicles. And then afterwards we have the Apex, which produces air units. Now, for vehicles we have Marauder, an anti-air unit, the Locust, and the Wraith. The Marauder is interesting in that it's a frontline tank unit and can, it essentially has a lot of armor, but it doesn't do a lot of damage, so it's for soaking up damage, essentially. Wraith is a long-range tank, and then the Locust is an anti-building unit, and the anti-air unit is essentially just an anti-air unit. So, right now I'm just moving forward with 2 Grunts, as well as just a bunch of Suicide Grunts and the Warlord. And I'm going to be moving forward, trying to capture that mini-base right over there. My 2 allies are going to be focusing on the eastern and middle of the map, but I'll be focusing on the left side mostly because that's the only side that I really cared about. Now, Halo Wars 1 differs from that of Halo Wars 2 in that, well, for the most part, the Brutes are going to be in control for this leader in particular. Now, I don't know if you guys were able to see in the, essentially before this match started up in the lobby, that there were that you had access to a couple of leaders, not just the Brute Chieftain and the UNSC leader, Captain Cutter. However, they were grayed out due to the fact they're just not in the game yet. But I believe that once the game is shipped out, there'll be you'll have access to 6 leaders. So 3 for the Covenant and 3 for UNSC. Anyway, you see me, I'm just blowing up some of his guys with Suicide Grunts, continuing to spam those dudes out. They're the best. I mean, it's an ultimate cheese unit. Just blow up kamikaze into a bunch of Marauders. As you can see, they took a lot of damage, but I was able to clean them up easy peasy lemon squeezy. These are the jump back brutes right over here. By pressing Y or the Windows 10 equivalent, you can just jump into an enemy and then smash his brains in. Kind of like Assault Marines from Dawn of War. Anyway, so I continue on the Suicide Grunt pack, but then I realized that this is dumb plan. So let's go back to Hunters. Hunters are anti-vehicle units, but they can't shoot air. So that's definitely their downside right there. Now, for the Xbox One, all you have to do in order to select units is by going on local units, which is, I believe, the right bumper. Just pressing that and it selects all the units on your screen. If you hold it, then you can select all units. On the PC, obviously, you don't need to do this, but yeah. Now, alongside your units, you also have leader abilities, which will allow you to call on special abilities in the middle of a match. So, for example, I can call down a Pelican Strike or Mac Cannon Blast for the UNSC, and for the Covenant, I have spirits that I can launch and like a glassing attack. Hunters are gonna fire down some shots. The Suicide Grunts are going to blow up on contact. The Brutes are going to hit a bunch of the dudes. He has Engineers above, which will heal up his Locust a little bit. And I'm just trying to fizzle out, so to speak. You can build a Brute Chopper from the fortress itself. I'll start with the air units once they come out, but for now I'm just going to focus on talking about the vehicles, the land vehicles in particular, and just infantry. So right now, just right off the bat, I'm just going to say this. The game is fucking fantastic in terms of graphics. Whoa! The explosions, when shit happens, it looks beautiful. Especially that Macan Blast. And obviously, of course, the Covenant look amazing as well. I'm just bashing this mini base in. Suicide Grunts and Grunts, as well as Jump Pack Brutes, seem to be the way forward. As well as, of course, Hunters. So as you can see, I have some Marauders. Got some anti-air units. Right now, the UNSC are pushing forward with a couple of troops. I got a couple of abilities as well that I want to keep under my locker. They are on cooldown, and you have to unlock them with a variety of different resources. We got the Warlord jumping in, trying to mess us up a little bit, but he just sort of flies away. I was able to take out the Marauder, easy peasy with the Hunters, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the Warlord. Jumped with my Jump Pack Brutes, trying to get up to it, but I missed. So I'm just going to local units and X button the sky and kill him. I'll use my leader ability soon in this video. I was a little bit hesitant. I was trying to, like, obviously prove to the devs that, hey, I'm not a complete incompetent bumpist, but you know what? I cannot lie about who I truly am. So I'm going to kill the Warlord. Got a few units in the back. We got the Locust and 5 Jump Pack Brutes, so my spam of Suicide Grunts has switched to a spam of Jump Pack Brutes. I can safely say that Jump Pack Brutes armed with gravity hammers are amazing. So, right now for air units, we got the Banshee, we got the Blisterback. Blisterback is a RD air unit, so it attacks the units from far range and can be deployed in order to become a stronger RD unit. Banshee is obviously your standard fighter, anti-ground unit guy. There's a Blisterback right over there. It's deployed, so it's firing down. But you could also fight with its air mode as well. I'm going to jump in with my Jump Pack Roots. Get them! Look at those guys go. Hunters, some Rangers are going to blast about. I think I'm going to use Cleansing Beam right over here, which, if you remember, the Prophet's ability is essentially a gigantic laser that just blasts away at things. Does not a lot of damage to buildings, but will rip apart units. I just decided to act like a derp. So far, we see a little bit of slowdown. The Marauders are taking quite a bit of damage. As I said, they are high in armor, but very low in actual damage. Engineers are healers, obviously. And then we got the Shroud, which is the heavily armored unit. Actually, hold on a second. I think I never built the Shroud. It's a heavily armored unit, but I don't actually remember what it does. I'm going to have to check back on it later. So right now, the enemy is attacking me from the flank with some Jump Pack Brutes, so using my own medicine against me. So I'm going to use is a couple of abilities. I think I'm going to use Spirit Assault 3. Which sends in some Suicide Grunts and some Spirits in order to help out. I think I also send in another ability. Yeah, I use Eradication. So I think I use Eradication first. There we go. And then I use the Spirit Assault. Keep in mind that this is a fully upgraded Covenant force, so take balance with a grain of salt. There are definitely things I could have done in this video in order to produce units and cycled between armies a lot faster, but I haven't played Halo Wars in so long, so that is something. Right now I'm trying to catch up with the orange enemy player, and later on in the video things get really crazy as I'm kind of like the last bastion of the Covenant on the left side, and so far it seems like 2 of the players are like kind of double teaming me, so it's a little bit crazy. I'm not deploying the Blisterback. In fact, I should have probably deployed it right on that cliff, but it's all good. Jump Pack Brutes are going to jump in, smash about. However, his heal is going to keep these guys well alive, especially with the Marauders here. Just kind of like tanking a bunch of the damage. I think I'm going to try and use a Spirit Assault in order to break this guy. I definitely probably should have built some Wraiths in order to take out some of the Marauders, or maybe just built Marauders of our own. As you can see, right now my allies are just focusing on the right side and the middle. But it was a back and forth game. This was pretty intense, actually. See, the problem with spamming jump pack routes, I later realized, is the fact that they cannot attack air units. So this was not exactly the most kosher plan for me to do, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to heal up my guys as much as possible. The Warlord is still alive, which I'm incredibly happy for. Actually, the Hunters are going to smash them about. A little bit of a glitch right here. Again, as I said, this is an earlier build of the Xbox One version of Halo Wars 2. And so not everything's up to snuff. However, it still plays pretty well, just in general. Like, obviously, earlier builds of the game are going to perform like crap in comparison to the full release version. Okay, so I sent in more suicide runs. Got some jump back routes. Remember that the Spirit Assaults bring in suicide runs as well as attack all units in the area, so that's something to keep in mind about. This is definitely a time where I should have deployed the blister back, but oh well. And so I'm just fiddling about, trying to pick, like, what do I build in order to fight? Blasting him a bit. The Warlord is dragging units back into his gravity hammer in order to kill them. So if you're wondering why units are flying about, that's the reason, essentially. Hunters are doing their damnedest in order to kill these guys, but it's just not working out. Just jump back brute spam doesn't work. TLD, today I learned, you know, that sort of stuff. Almost said TLDR, which would have been the wrong acronym, obviously. So I'm going to send in some raves, but I'm going to bring them back because this is getting a little bit savage. Now, obviously, I can't talk too much about console controls because I am primarily a PC player, so I'm not really commentating on essentially what does what, as most of the time I was acting pretty much like a derp for controls-wise. Raves are doing their best to shoot at the air units, but the turret is just not that powerful. Moving in the Raves in order to attempt to kill the Locusts. Locusts are good against buildings. They are also good against units in a way. They do damage, obviously, but you're going to need to impress them a little bit more with some concentrated firepower, obviously. Runs are going to shoot at the air units. My early air units. Raves are kicking the Raves butt right now, but I just don't have enough of them, and they're just damaged up by the Banshees, obviously. I should have definitely spammed some more engineers. Anti-air unit that I built is going to crush these guys. I believe it's called the Reaver. I've been calling it just the anti-air unit, but that's because it just primarily is the anti-air unit. Hunters came at me from the right side. This was the time I was talking about when they were all attacking me, and I was like, no. Fuzzy Beam coming in, trying to weaken up the Hunters. Didn't really do much. So I try to think of like what I can do, but you know, so far I don't have my eradication, so that is a little bit unfortunate. Hunter spam is still alive and proud, just like Suicide Grunt spam. Oh yeah. So this time, I guess I'm Elite Rangers, I believe, alongside Hunters. There are 3 different turret modes. There's obviously anti-air turret, anti-ground vehicle turret, anti-infantry turret. I built 2 raid camps, but I probably should have done a better job of splitting up my raid camp production. My ally is going to come and help out with his vulture. Now, we weren't given access to... That was a nice Mac Cannon blast. Now, we weren't given access to the Scarab. I'm wondering if they're saving that for a later build of the game. I don't know if the UNSC will get something more than that, more than the Vulture. We see the Shroud up there as the Vulture, but I'm acting like a derp and focusing on other stuff. Wasn't really too much focused on showing off all the different units. I was just focused on just showing off company gameplay in general. So it's down to the wire. It was pretty much down to the wire for the most part in this game, as we had a couple of very seasoned developers, and well, I had the IGN guy and Nurse developer on my team. So me and the IGN guy were bringing down the developer. I use Eradication to try and do a little bit of damage, sending in Pelican support. And obviously the Rangers are going to do wonders against these infantry units. So this was a time when I was like, hey, let's use my brain, and you know what, let's send in some units that actually counter stuff. Not jump pack boots against Banshees. And now we see a couple Warthogs coming in. There, all my allies are just coming on the left side now. They tried to push on the right in the middle, and that didn't really work out too much. I was able to kill the Warlord. So yeah, a lot of stuff that I want to ask, such as what exactly the new leaders are going to be for the Covenant UNSC, I wasn't able to get an answer for. I'm going to build, what was it? Choppers right here. They detect cloaked units. I wasn't able to get an answer for, obviously speaking, seeing as though the game is still in development. However, we do know for a fact that there will be 6 leaders. Now, will there be a third faction? I wasn't getting an answer for that as well. We'll have to see later on in the game's development if we will get a third faction or not. Jump pack boots are going to mess these sprays apart. However, I did not notice the Rangers. Or I did, but I just didn't give a shit. See, brutes are really strong at close quarter combat, so that is something to keep in mind about. A little bit interesting that we're using elite rangers and not jackals, actually. Wonder if jackals are for a specific jackal leader. That might explain why right now we're seeing a brute chieftain leader, and maybe the next leaders will be like a jackal leader or a Sankili leader. Not really sure. The possibilities are endless. Either way, though, that will be Halo Wars 2, releasing on February 2017. My name is Masterofroflness. Right now, you can play around with Halo Wars 2 from June 13 to June 20 on the open beta for Xbox One. And stay tuned as I'll be looking at the PC version of the game. Bye-bye.